Hey YouTube, it's me and my bipod until I get another holder here. And we wanted to come to you and kind of share. Well, come on, buddy. Hold on. There we go. Never make your tripod a bipod. Word of advice. I wanted to kind of come here and share. Is that light going to be in the way? Probably. What we found on that clutch. So, and honestly, my thought process is, you guys, man, you guys really helped me identify it. You put me on the right path. So I kind of want to talk. I'm gonna kill that light too. Hold on, I'm trying to get light and halfway decent. I'm not showing you plumber's butt or anything. That seems a little better. Because if it wasn't for YouTube and then Patreon, we probably wouldn't have got it identified very easy. And so I want to kind of share with you first what we've done. Now, there'll be a full video coming out on this after they shed. So nothing's shed yet. So we're kind of jumping the gun on showing these earlier than what we normally do. But I still want to do it because, like I say, I was really confused. Jojo, you're going to want to watch this. When these came out, and there was a lot of suggestions on YouTube on what they might be. So I'll start off with what I did. So the pairing was our Pastel Lesser Desert Ghost, if you missed the cutting, to a Het Clown Possible Het Caramel, right? That was a pairing. And the reason we did that pairing is we couldn't put our clown, because our clown ended up being Het Caramel. I don't want to bring a Het Caramel to a Het Caramel, or in this case, a Possible Het Caramel. This is one that did not go last year, so we don't know if she's Het Caramel or not. But I didn't want to make that pairing right to push. I'm not sure what you mean by right to push. To make that pairing, with the Pastel caramels. So we just said, well, you know what? We will throw this. We'll throw this together, make some lesser pastels, make some Het Desert Ghost stuff, and we can always use some Het Desert Ghost. Maybe get something we want to keep out of it, and maybe just put some Het Desert Ghost on the market. We weren't really sure what was going to happen with that. Well, it didn't go as planned. And if you were here for the cutting, you saw what I saw. It was crazy. Well, they're all out of the egg now, so I've had a chance to really look at most. I haven't gone through each and every one of them. I went through the main two that were confusing the first day. And I also, well, not the first day, it was the first they crawled out. They were out yesterday. And I'd reached out with pictures. I took some screenshots from our video that we did live, so you can go back and watch that. And I sent them to Fireball Pythons, or Fireball Reptiles, sorry, which is where I bought my male Lesser Pastel Het Desert Ghost from. Because some of you had suggested maybe we were dealing with cryptic. And a cryptic to a clown. And I'll have to share kind of what I learned about cryptic before we show you these babies. And he was able to identify for me, after doing some research, I thought, yeah, I think that's what I'm looking at. But if I want to put something out in the market, I want to be more sure than just I think, right? And so I went to the source. He's got cryptic stuff for sale. It's where my mail came from. I said, hey, this is what I bought from you. This is what I've got. What do we got going on? He confirmed we've got cryptic. So he, after sending pictures of them out of the egg and in the egg, he said, yep, that looks like cryptic to me. So based on my research, going to the source, and a guy who knows more than I do about it, we are working with cryptic. So what does that mean? Well, cryptic's weird, first of all. Cryptic, there's been a lot of confusion about it, and there's some really good information that's come out recently. And if you haven't seen those videos, I'll kind of paraphrase what I learned. Let me first give a shout out to the first video I found, and the first guy I found that explained it in a way that my dumb ass could understand. That'd be Garrick Meyer, so a big shout out to Garrick. And so basically what you have with cryptic is, it does mean kryptons. So cryptic, the best way to think of cryptic is think of it like it's Tofino. Okay? So if you remove the word Tofino and put the word cryptic in, that'll help you figure out how we're dealing with this. If you remove the word clown and you put the word albino in, they work like albino and toffee. Okay? So what that means is a cryptic, being like a toffee, is its own separate gene that's visual, right? It's like toffee is. And clown, it's like albinos, its own separate recessive that's visual. But if you mix a toffee and an albino, right, you get toffinos. They're allelic, they link up together and they make a visual animal. In this case, if you link a cryptic with a clown, right, and you pair them together, you get a visual animal. It's called a Krypton, which is what it technically is it's heterozygous for cryptic and heterozygous for clown. when bred, it's going to have to push those out, right? One or the other. Yes, David, it is recessive. Cryptic is recessive. What we have in this clutch is het cryptic, het, uh, het clown, okay? On the visuals. The non-visuals will be 50% chance of being het cryptic and a 50% chance of being het clown. What they will not be is both. You can't have both or be visual, right? Everything in this clutch is also 100% het desert ghost. So really cool stuff. Awesome. Congratulations, Bree. Let me get through kind of this part and show these babies. We'll talk a few and then I'll slide to Patreon. So anyway, that's what we're kind of dealing with here. And they're all out of the egg and ready to go into their pre-shed tub. So I wanted to share that with you so you can see what I'm seeing in these babies, what I found, I will burp there to look at, and also then what I sent and Fireball Reptiles was able to confirm for me. So Cryptic does a few things, and a Krypton looks almost exactly like a Cryptic. I've never found anybody that can say the difference between the two that may be out there. It's also new. And so some people are saying maybe the neck stripe is a little bit different. But Cryptic or Krypton is going to really mess the pattern up. Okay, it's going to kind of make everything together, squeeze the alien heads, make it funky. I think it can brighten some things up. I think it enhances some other genes, and you'll see why I think that in a minute, especially some of the blushing. It makes blushing freaking nuts. And so it does that. And then the head stamp is very, very evident when you mix other genes. When there's not other genes mixed, you'll have this weird eye stripe. As a matter of fact, somebody, I think it was a Patreon member, quite possibly sent me pictures a while back. Actually, it may not have been. It may have been another lady that I met while doing my day job who recognized me. It happens every now and then, pretty infrequently. I'd say maybe once a year. And she wanted to show me the snake, and I was like, yeah, it looks weird, but mostly no different. It's normal. Well, looking back at the head on that snake, it was likely a Cryptic or a Krypton. So, boy, kind of cool. Now that we know what's going on. So anyway, let's get to the babies. So I'm just going to pull these out at random, and we'll go through it. So this first one I pulled out. Now, again, I'm just pulling out at random. If you look at it, it's going to look like, here. These guys are all wild, right? The head is a big difference, but there's more to it. So I can get that thing to show up. Okay, let's try a different approach here, guys. I'm going to flip this around. Boop. Hold on to it. I did not flip around. Sorry. I'm struggling with technology today. There we go. And that will be better. Don't mind the work there. So you can see the head on the snake, the eye stripe, and you're saying, gee, Matt, that looks like a lesser. I don't really see much going on. Well, you're right. That is a lesser. So I want you to really remember how that head looks, okay, on that straight lesser. See how the banding is in the eyes? Let me put him up. Him or her. I don't know. They're not all sexed yet. I will admit to sexing one because I was just too damn excited not to. So one of them did get sexed. Pull out the next one. Oh, this is a good one. So this one is going to be a little bit different. Make sure not to catch his head there when I close the tub. And look at the head on that. Okay. So you can really see the head. And then if you look at the eye stripe, I get to show. See how thin that dark line is? Much different than the other one. Right? Much different in the thickness. So this, look at that head. Crazy, 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 crazy. And then the back. Now this is just right. Pastel Cryptic. So this is just a single gene pastel. And look at the blushing coming through that animal. It is just, let me set that down for you. I get it to, I mean, it looks like, hey, come on, buddy. Like I say, these guys are all just little crazy snakes. Crazy little snakes. There you can really, really, really see how cool the blushing is, the pattern there on the side, and how just wonky that thing is. It almost makes me think of what Spot Nose kind of does in the pattern, as far as just the amount of busyness goes. Hold on, I'm going to put you in your spot. Sorry, I'm trying to do this all one-handed. Maybe I can get my bipod to do a little better for me here, for you guys. Although I'll be honest, I think my bipod is about to become a single pod. This was actually one, hey, that might work, that was gifted to us and has worked really well. So let me do it this way, actually. See, I love when I start thinking of stuff. Uh-oh, maybe. Maybe not. Hang on. Trying to get it to be able to show a little bit better for you guys. And free up a hand for me. With only 2 legs. Okay, we're going to try that. Perfect. We're going to see how this goes, so bear with me. As I need new parts, right? Now, this is a cool snake, and this will be another example of what I believe to be another Krypton. So this is not a lesser pastel. I don't think there's pastel in this, but you can see all the blushing, how crazy the pattern is, and the dead giveaway on this is going to be the eye stripe. I can get it to show off here. And also, there is some pattern arborizations in the front of this snake. There we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There, you can see that thin broken stripe. That is your cryptic, the head stamp, and then look at the neck pattern, how it's all connected up. So we have another Krypton here. This is a Krypton lesser. Really, guys, they are just, I don't know if it's a gene or what, but they're crazy. And then, again, for comparison, just a straight lesser. I don't even see pastel in that. You can see that eye stripe is definitely more normal. Definitely not Krypton, right? So we put this one back up. I'm going to save the best for last. Now this one was a surprise. I just noticed today. And I didn't know what we had. Seeing the egg, I thought maybe we had a low expression pastel because the color's kind of light. I wasn't really seeing the blushing I wanted to see in. Boom, boom, boom. And then the heads came out, right? We talked about this last night. I don't remember what we talked about last night on that front. There you can see. Yeah, come on, buddy. There you can see the eye stripe. So that is going to be just a straight Krypton. You can see the pattern's really weird in the sides too. The white will come up on there, which you can't see too much till it sheds out, but it's certainly there in person. I like a little, see all that blushing. So this is a straight single gene Krypton. Now the one that I said could be a world's first. Notice I said could be. I don't know if anybody else has one of these. I ain't gonna lie. It was clickbait. It was clickbait as hell. And that is this guy here. I say guy, it's actually a girl. I did sex this one. And that is what I believe to be a lesser pastel 100% Het Desert Ghost Krypton. So this thing is a phenomenal, phenomenal looking snake. This is going to be an instant favorite in my collection. So if you were hoping to get this, you're kind of shit out of luck. This will be a holdback, guys. I am sorry about that. So let me put this one back. Those guys settle in their new tub. Pick this back up. Flip you around. Yeah, we are holding that. Certainly holding that. Now, I do see at least one person there saying sold, sold, sold. And I do want to confirm that just like always, Andy, the ones we do make available, I do not plan on keeping all these. I'll be straight up with you on that. I am for sure going to keep one, right? Oh, thank you, Jojo. I really appreciate that. And Anthony, that one's doing great, by the way. We actually just moved it up into a tub, so it's going to be showing, it's going to be having a video about that here pretty soon. And I don't know about Soul Sucker Kryptons. I mean, the Krypton thing, I also have to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with it because I didn't expect this to be on my collection. So this is a whole new thing. It does certainly push the need to add that clown male I've been wanting to add up much faster. And it also changes maybe the genetics I go with as a kicker gene in my clown. So obviously that's going to be a new thought process. But I do want to let you guys know I will be parting, right? Oh, you I will be parting. Blitz Krypton's going to be a process. But Krypton's going to be hard to recreate right away because in order to recreate it, I got to use my head clown stuff. So I have to get Blitz into clown first and then go with those to do it. But it's certainly a possibility that would probably work. That's more long term. Now, I will be parting with some of those. If I would have to guess, we hit the odds amazingly. So I will imagine that I'll probably part with two, maybe three, but probably at least two. Kurt, I'll talk about it. Thank you, Balls of Paradise, so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, David W. You guys are amazing. I wasn't going here to get all those, but I really do appreciate it. But we're going to stay for a little longer now, that's for sure. And thank you. And guys, this has been, I mean, this is an amazing find for me. You know, this puts some of our projects or new projects on the horizon when this year we had kind of set back, you know, and we hadn't really added any new projects. And we really weren't looking to add new projects. The reptile house, just getting some things done, I mean, it's taken trying to finish the kitchen, trying to get internet ran, which is supposed to happen. I got told they finally got all the paperwork. I'm still waiting on countertops that we paid for, and all those things we were doing took up a lot of the funding. It was getting this ready. You know, getting this facility is going to be great for the future, but truth be told, it set us back probably 12 months to 15 months, probably closer to 2 years when you add in the fact of COVID slowed a lot of things down, especially like the Patreon front, which is understandable. But long term, it's going to be great. And it does kind of make up for 2019, right? And the cryptic, so here's the thing, David, and even with JKR, because it's so confusing. If he has a clown, right? Somebody says I have a clown, you'll see clowns listed as possible het cryptic. They are not. They're not. You cannot have a visual clown that is het cryptic. It is not possible to do. It can't happen, can't work, no way, no how. Now, does that mean people are listing them wrong on purpose? No, nobody this is all new getting figured out. And so people were listing that, honestly believing for very good reason that's what was going on. They thought they had possible cryptic visual clowns, but they cannot happen. So Gaming Chronicles, all of our snakes get offered first on Patreon, to our Patreon members. Any subscription, $5 up, get first access. And they pretty much take care of most of what we have. Anything left over, we'd probably take to a show. And if we started needing to, we'd look at posting on Morph Market. But I don't envision that being something we'll need to do for a year to 2 to 3 years. Currently, I think I have one snake on my last post that has not sold. And that snake is a Super Pastel. And it's still available to Patreon only. So, oh yes, I'm a both. Yes. Somebody thumbs down. Oh, well, I've got a hater out there. It is what it is. I got a handful of them. And I actually kind of think it's flattering. You haven't done anything till you got a hater, man. But yeah, so that's kind of where things are. And what I would like to do to it, the first thing I want to really do before I focus on, you'd think I'd focus on Xanthic here and everything else. But the Discord family is awesome. What we're really going to probably focus on getting into that, they're all going to pile it up trying to find an escape, is probably Desert Ghost. The reason for that is I know these are all het Desert Ghost. So we're looking at I'd like to get Clown that's got a pastel in it or fire in it. That is a possible het Desert Ghost or a het Desert Ghost. We might go on the possible and just give it a shot because if we hit it, cool. If we don't hit it, oh well. So so Krypton is a cryptic clown, kind of like a Tofino. So Krypton is like Krypton is is a Tofino. How would we say this back in the grade school days? So Krypton is to clown as Tofino is to albino, right? It's the same type of thing. It's just the name given, and it's kind of a neat name to the allelic combo. So, and that's what these are too, Andy. Technically, these are triple hets. The reason I say they're triple hets is because they're het clown, het cryptic, and they're het desert ghost, and you're guaranteed to pass one of those on every time. So pretty awesome. How many snakes I have, I don't even know. I lost count. I quit counting because babies and shit like that. Should be getting some Pastel Orange Banana Blade Clowns out this year. Well, I might want one. It just kind of depends. We might also look for, I've seen some listed in some places that are like 400 grams. That'd be nice because if I could get a little bit bigger, I've got 2 clown females and then the 4 het clown females. So 1 visual clown female, 1 het clown with a lot of kickers, and then 4 visuals or 4 hets. I don't want to put my male to all 4 of those heads this year. I'll probably put him to 2 because he's still a small guy. I don't want to overwork him. So slight big gaps from the pin and the top of the neck that will cause bad humidity. They can. One of the ways to control the humidity is look at what substrate you're using. Gaming Chronicles, and if you're having some bad humidity issues because of the gap, I noticed in my racks on the speaking of the TGR version, not the Pride of Texas version, is on my FB. I believe it's the 40s. We tend to have a slightly bigger gap than my FB 70s. Why? I don't know. So you just have to watch the moisture in them a little bit more, and then a coconut substrate will certainly help on that. And oh, I'm gonna make all those clowns busy before the year's over. Trust me, because depending on that male does, we'll rotate him through. But he's got 2 to go through. We'll see ya. And then if we pick up a male clown, like I say, I'm gonna be probably looking for the 450 to 500 gram range. I might be able to handle 1 or 2 females. And don't forget, I still got Trouser. So Trouser can go to my 2 visuals, my 2 adults, and no problem. So like we can do it. The only ones that are worried about are the hets that are possibly had caramel. So or caramel, it's whatever. Coconut, it's a homemade rack. Coconut's good. Just I mean, you may have to wet it more, or you may have to make it a little thicker. But if you make it thicker, make sure they're all a little thicker, so you don't have one getting too cool because the substrate's thicker. They need to be all pretty close to the same. So we'll see you. Good luck at dinner. And thanks for the congratulations. And you guys, you're right. This does make up a little bit for 19. 19 was a rough year. Man, 20 has been way better in terms of ball python breeding. Have we lost some babies and things? Yeah, you're going to lose a little bit every year, right? But not near the losses that we had in 19. Where we were having total clutch wipes pretty frequently. We had, I think I've only had 2 sets of eggs that have given me problems, and 1 clutch that's been giving me a headache. Other than that, we've been solid. And I would have been worried about a clutch giving me a headache if it was the same ones it did last year, but it's not. It's just one of those things. So like Xanthics that caused me so many problems last year, doing great this year. I still got some of those I'm still trying to get to feed consistently. They're born huge. So it is, yeah. What goes with Inchy Pastel? I like Fire with Pastel a lot. I also like your recessives with Pastel a lot. Yellow Belly can't hurt. It's going to brighten that stuff up a lot. You can also add them to Pastel. So, oh, god damn, Sniffle, that hurts. And I can imagine, like last year was rough. I mean, and we started off great. We started doing what we normally do, like just hitting the rate perfect. And we finished with the middle section that was so horribly bad. 2 of the clutches were the caramel ones, and that was a complete wash. And it was just a mess. Hopefully next year, David. We probably could have pushed for it this year. With getting moved in and trying to get this figured out with the problems we had. Honestly, I just didn't want to push it. So we'll probably look at power feeding the shit out of the feed. Not power feeding, I shouldn't say that, but the carpet show, you want feed, shut them down at a certain point. And we'll probably look at doing that, say 21, So, and I agree with Wolf Kai, so show me a little love if you want. Although I can't complain, you guys have shown me a lot of. There's been a ton of super chats. So, right. So somebody asked if a Krypton will look like a clown on a flat mountain pythons. Nailed it. Cryptic and Krypton will look similar. Clown looks way different, but they're allelic. So, but the Krypton looks more like the cryptic. So it's gonna get really confusing out there, I think, with this gene at times. But so with these, let's say you picked up one of these cryptics from us, or one of these Kryptons, from us, and you were gonna breed it. My suggestion would be, if you picked up a male Krypton, you want to put it to your het clowns or your visual clowns, and if you have het cryptic or visual cryptic, put it there, and it's going to then tell you what you're getting. If you put it to the clown, then the clown's probably the better way to go. Put it to cryptic. You're going to have some is it cryptic or is it Krypton stuff, which is okay at this point in the game, right? But if you put it to your clown stuff, then you're going to know, because you're going to make either visual clowns, like this to a visual clown will make visual clowns and Kryptons, nothing else. So that'll be, we'll probably wait to make that until after we get the eggs and kind of time how we did it, because we're still kind of learning on that. That'll be our first go around. And thank you, Balls of Paradise. I really appreciate that. And like you said, smash that like button, people. We would really appreciate that as well. Obviously, YouTube has been terrible for us the last about year. I think part of it's election season. Everybody's going and watching, they're like in there or whatever they can on that. And I understand it. It's a changing world out there. So the new Gabby's doing really good. It's in shed right now. It'll be its first shed with us. Actually, before I go home today to dinner, it needs to probably get a soak for a little while. I mean, if you want, we could probably do that, although I haven't prepped its soak tub. I'll have to do that. So maybe we'll put it for the soak on the Patreon video. And that's what we'll do for fun is give the Gabby a bath. Give me a little bit of time to prep its tub. So do you guys have any questions on this collection? Before I answer your questions, I do want to say, hey, thank you very much, because truth be told, it was really YouTube that put me on the direction to finding out what it was. So I'd never even dealt with Cryptic at all. I mean, I've been so busy, I haven't looked up the new stuff, right? So somebody asked to see them again. Tell you what, you guys have ponied up $42 of super chats. If you all want to see them again, we will certainly show some to you. Get out of your water dish. That is not where you want to get stuck. So let me pull out the, what I think is the cream of the crop. Let me plot two at once, apparently, because that's what's going to happen. So what we'll do is a little bit of a comparison with the normal lesser by the lesser Pastel Krypton. Really cool snake. So this would, of course, be that lesser Pastel Krypton right there. See if we can get its head out. It's wanting to hide. This is it right here. This is a Krypton. Now it's a lesser Pastel Krypton. I will show you a straight Krypton. Let me get this lesser if I can get it to stay here, because it's my best comparison snake. Although it's not going to cooperate. Now somebody asked to see a straight Krypton. This is a straight Krypton. It doesn't look anything too crazy, but it's all, and these are going to be identification on the head. There you can see that eye stripe. That's a great example of it. How skinny that line is, how broken it is. You know, and then of course there's a ton of blushing through the sides, and just the pattern's really wonky, and everything's kind of squished down. That's what they say. I don't know if that's the term. You are running away from me. Why are you running away, little lesser? Thing was going to try to crawl off the table. So that's what's going on with that. Put these two up. I'll get you another one. Whoops, sorry, little dude. I didn't mean to get your face there. I was trying to find you. This is the... Oh, thank you, Balls of Paradise. I appreciate it, man. I really do. This is the Krypton Pastel we hit. So, really cool. You can, I mean, this was a giveaway that the head, I can get the head stamp to show, was something was going on with that snake. You just don't want to show your head. Watch this. Haha, sucker. Don't light me up for this. There you go. You can kind of see it there. So this is a really cool pattern on it. If you are working Desert Ghost stuff too, I would say pay very close attention, because one thing I've come to understand is a lot of the original Krypton stuff that came in with Desert Ghost, and it was almost felt like it was part of that going on. So the Desert Ghost, the original ones that were made, I'm assuming somewhere along the line, were actually also had Cryptic, and now so it's putting that through all the Desert Ghost stuff, and that's where a lot of people are finding this pop up in their collection. I shouldn't say a lot, but it is happening. It has happened several times. People also weren't realizing it was recessive, and so then they were pushing stuff out. So there's some heads floating around out there that people are finding them. Oh, congratulations on the new job, Balls of Paradise. Hey, you can spend all of that right here if you want. We won't stop you. But I'll tell you what, the better place to spend the way you're spending on here today with us would be, I know you're on Patreon, but we just changed what we do. We went to a percentage-based discount. So that means, you know, these are not going to be cheap animals, but some of you will have the ability to get a pretty good chunk of a percentage knocked off. So I don't know about Krypton the Enhancer. I couldn't tell you on that. And I'm not really familiar with Enhancer. I think that might have been one of those things that was kind of the same as Desert Ghost in the name difference. And but it's possible, but I think the Desert Ghost line started from somebody in particular. And when those came out, that's where it came out, right? So, perfect. Hey, man, new job, $15 an hour, way better before. Somebody also asked if we had any paradoxes. We do, Gaming Chronicles. We do have several paradoxes that we have kept and produced. So, thank you, Balls Paradise. I appreciate it. I'm glad somebody's having a good 2020 too, man, because I know it's been rough for a lot of you out there. job market, people losing jobs and things, and so it's good to see somebody who got a better one, because that's one of the hardest things about it. So, yum. Yes, a child abuse snake that, and I'll get to your question, Ember. The child abuse snake that Jojo Wolfgeist is referring to was a paradox as well that we hatched out. It was a paradox GHI Mojave. And it had this one mark that somebody looked like they put a cigarette out on it. It was just this one dark circle. Just boom. We actually sold that Jojo, or Wolfgeist has it now. It's doing great. So it's doing a really good job. Reliable built snake racks. I have not yet, Dustin, but there's plenty of companies out there that are reliable. I just always like the new guys because I've been there. I still see myself. I still see myself. I know to a lot of people this is gonna probably sound like, I don't know, not correct, but I'll never see myself different. So I just got to deal with it. As that guy who's still having to fight and scrap to get his name there, fight and scrap to get known, and to fight and scrap to do decent, and I'm always gonna have a little bit of that chip on my shoulder that uh, you know, I want to push this to a certain level. And even when I get to the level I want to be, there's going to be that chip on the shoulder to stay there. So I see these companies that are starting out and scrapping and fighting, and they make a really good product. I always really like those guys because I see kind of myself in them. That doesn't mean that these established companies make a bad product at all. They don't, man. ARS is great. Freedom Breeder is great. As a matter of fact, all the racks we use all use Freedom Breeder tubs, right? So it's not that I'm anti the big rack companies. It's just, I'm always going to get in the corner with the little guy who's trying to start up and make something. It just hasn't worked so well. So, yeah, and you can do what Sniffle does there too, man. Sea Serpents too, I left them out, man. Sea Serpents is really kind of a cool deal. So it's a little bit different design. I personally prefer the hanging design. Sea Serpent is not a hanging design. It's more of a box design. But one thing about Sea Serpents that is really awesome, for those of you guys that need a quick turnaround, one, they're very budget friendly. They have got a design that works well. They've stuck to it. They're able to make those things fast and get them out the door in a really budget friendly way. Two, they're probably going to be one of the quickest to ship out there. So, like, if you need it now, man, Sea Serpents is going to be a good way to go. It's just, but it all comes down to personal preference. But yeah, so Sea Serpents is another great one. You can spend over 6 months. Yeah, but Sea Serpents, that's the other thing too, is you can buy a single stack, kind of like you could with TGR and not ARS and Pride of Texas. I think you can do that with Freedom Breeder now, but I don't think you could back in the day. You had to buy like 30 tubs at once, right? And then the other thing too, I told my boy, that's something else about Sea Serpents that's good, is they're one of the few places, because that box design, that can make a true combo rack. And that is nice because you can do different things, and it's great for a quarantine setup because maybe you're buying a sub-adult snake or a baby, and you can do kind of both, right? So, uh, I prefer popping, but I know Anna likes to probe. Either one is great for telling sex. It's what you're comfortable with, what you're accurate at, and that doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. Still, man, I dropped my toy that man. You're gonna make mistakes. Everybody does. It's part of it. Nobody's gonna be perfect at this, myself included. But I haven't found a new small guy rack company that I feel comfortable telling you guys, hey, this is who I suggest you go with right now. And I'll probably be a little shyer about that just because it seems like we have really bad luck doing that. I mean, not that the products are bad. TGR is a great product. Pride of Texas was a great product. And, the thing about it is TGR, I don't know what happened there. I really don't. I had those answers, guys. I'd give them to you. I have told you a lot about what happened with Pride of Texas, and there is more information on that. But, that'll get shared in due time. And somebody's like, well, I deserve the right to know, and I get that feeling. But there are some things that are very personal and private. And in talking with them, they do want to put that out. They want to come here, and they want to tell you. They want to physically tell you the rest of we mentioned life happens, right? We said, the hurricanes and this plus life happens. They want to tell you about that life part, and I'm going to definitely let them do that. But that's for them to share, not for me. As a respect of people's privacy, it's something that I don't think we do enough of in today's age, so I'm going to do it, right? If probably Steven especially knew kind of what was going on, so, and Cody is a good dude. He really is a good dude. I mean, so, yeah. Blazing cages and racks and And there are going to be those guys out there, man. There's a ton of small dudes, and a lot of them are going to be good to go. Ember, I forgot your question. I will get back to. I'm so sorry. So don't hesitate to go with one of those if you can see the product. Just because I say I don't know anybody doesn't mean that all the small ones out there now are crap. I just don't know them, so I can't say, hey, yeah, this is great. I've never worked their product. Before I promoted anybody else's product, before I promoted TGR's product or Pride of Text, I had hands-on experience with it. And that's the only one I ever promote a product to anybody who's had hands-on experience. Same with, we started working with Reptile Prime, which we actually started working with before it was Reptile Prime. I had hands-on experience. I said, hey, this is good stuff. I just did. So, and what I'm trying to remember what your question was. Oh, the venom being like acid. That's what it was. Oh, let me get to Death Farms really quick, and I'll get back to your question number. So, Death Farms, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to say, hey, I just want to say, watching your videos really got me into reptiles to the point I want to get into reptile breeder. Got any pointers for me? I will have to join your Patreon to gain more knowledge. The Patreon, first of all, is awesome, and you're going to get more than just me. If you join Patreon and you don't join the Discord, you're missing out. Man, that thing is active. I'm not on there as much as I probably should be, but the community is great, and they're going to help you out with better ideas than I have sometimes. So take my word for it. They are awesome. As far as some advice, so one, it's not quick. This is not quick money at all. It's really not. I mean, I'm still working a 40-hour week, and I've been doing this. I've been producing. I produced my first collection 15, so I'm not that far in. I'm pretty new at it still. And I think you can see that in a lot of the genetics we use and things we do. I started slow. I did it on purpose. But find something you really like in general, like a gene that you like. Man, I love this gene X, whatever it may be. Don't go for something that's 10 grand starting out, but whatever it may be. If you love clown, or in my case, it's exanthic, whatever you see that you go, this is just amazing. Death Farms, focus on that and plan out a breeding plan for something that you want to have. Make this gold snake here. That would be a snake that costs you several $1,000s right now, possibly. And then say, okay, how would I make that? Buy the parts and work your way there. And having that goal and knowing what you want to get, and tell yourself, I'm not buying, I'm making it. That will keep your motivation going on through the early times, the hard times, and the lean times. That's what really worked for me on the zebra bee, and the zebra bee is still my favorite snake I have because I work so damn hard to make it. And I'm seeing those projects now that I've set my goals at to realize, whether it's zebra bees, bells, the snow I finally made, my first double recessive, those things coming to fruition. So that would be my thing. Have something to keep that motivation going. Now, on to the acid question really quick, make sure I didn't miss anything, because a lot of comments that I haven't got a chance to read because, it all goes up. Oh, that's the other thing. It's about breeding rats, Death Farms infrastructure. As you get to a certain point around that 25, 30 snake mark, if you get to that level, start thinking about infrastructure, because it is very hard to be a breeder and not produce your own source of rats. It'll eat up everything you sell, making it very hard to have any income left over to add new stuff. So that's one thing I would certainly say. And I see some grats for Caleb. Not sure what the grats are, but whatever it is, good job, buddy. I gotta give Caleb shit. On to the Ember's question. She's been waiting a long time. She or he, I'm not sure which one. Ember's kind of I know there's Ember Leaf Reptiles, which is Alex, my buddy Alex dude, so I'm not sure. When you say it's like acid, some people are gonna think if you get on your skin, is it gonna burn like acid? If that's what you're asking about, is it the actual venom like acid? If I got it on me, is it gonna burn? No, it's not. I could literally take a cup of Gaboon Viper venom and I could drink it, and it wouldn't do anything to me as long as I don't have any bleeding ulcers or open wounds. It's going to be broken down in my stomach acid as a protein chain. Venom is a protein chain that just is going to wreak havoc when it gets into your tissue, to your bloodstream. Now, you hear snake venom compared, especially hemotoxic venoms, like your rattlesnakes and things like that, compared to acid frequently, because a lot of people say when it gets into you, like if you get bit, it feels like it burns, like there's acid in your blood vessels, in your veins as it's spreading through it. It just burns like there's acid inside of you. I think that's the comparison people are making. But as far as the actual physical part of it, no, it can get on your skin. It's going to be just sticky, nasty. It's not going to be acid in that way, just if it's inside of you. So there you go. And somebody says, I have TGR racks. Yes, I have TGR racks. That's what you're seeing behind me. And then over here, just off camera, I'll rotate to it, is what we call a pot rack. It's kind of like saying that. It's a Pride of Texas rack is what that one is. But everything else you see in here is TGR. Obviously, if I can't get a rack that's this kind of similar, we'll probably end up having to go with the metal racks or something else. I mean, I'm a little bummed by it because I kind of wanted this consistency in my room, but but I don't have it. It is what it is. Whatever, I'll get through. Correct. Sucks though, right? Necrotic is a term. Yeah, that's the term for when your flesh is dead. So female, perfect. I just wasn't sure because Ember could be either way, so don't want to piss anybody off. At least not for that reason. So thinks a rattlesnake bite can kill a meat in 30 minutes. So Chad, not likely. And here's what it comes. So all these old wives' tales you hear about snakes, there's always a piece of truth in most of them, right? My snake laid by me to measure me. Your snake laid by you because you're warm. I mean, it was laying by you, but it wasn't fucking measuring you, right? So on the venomous snake, the rattlesnake bite kills man in 30 minutes. It's more like rattlesnake bite kills man in 5. And that does happen. And you're thinking, what? No, bullshit. It does. It does. But you're not dying from the rattlesnake venom, in a roundabout way. If you happen to be allergic to a venom, right? Well, shock could be a problem too. People can certainly go into shock and have a problem. But if you have an allergic reaction to the venom, you can go into anaphylactic shock. You can also go into shock of holy shit, like people get shot by a gun in my world. Shock is a real thing you have to worry about. Them just going, oh my God, I've been shocked, and the brain freaking out. You got to get them out of that, right? Can't go into shock. Got to calm your shit down. But anaphylactic shock will kill you fast. And if you're allergic, that's a problem. That's a bad problem. So whenever you hear those super quick deaths, that's what it is. If you're not allergic, a bite from a Western Diamondback, I think, not last time I looked into it, I think it was like 75-80% survivability rate without treatment. Without treatment. Now you're going to lose some shit, like you're going to be able to count to 2 and have a claw hand when you're done. So get treatment for the love of God. But the fatality rate is not super high with, your level of risk, right? Yeah. So without treatment, it's pretty survivable. But with treatment, survival is very, very high. It's very, very high. But if you're allergic, it's not. And here's the thing too, Tessa. So I don't know if I'm allergic, right? I'm likely. I hit True Ghost. If I said, oh no, not me, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I got hit True Ghost, but I don't know if I'm allergic to venom. I don't think I am. There's nothing I've ever been stung by that I'm allergic to. But my brother's allergic to bee stings. My wife is allergic to all things freshwater fish, so she can't eat catfish, bass, lake fish. Can't eat none of that shit. If it's in a shell, she's good. If it's in saltwater, she's good. It's really strange. Usually it's the other way around. But she can't eat freshwater fish. It's breakout swelling, hives, bad day, hospital, not good. So with that, she's been prescribed EpiPen. So we keep an EpiPen with us, especially travel, because we're going to all these restaurants we're not familiar with. There's some cross-contamination, and should she have a really bad reaction. And then I actually keep an EpiPen here in my venomous room. So if I ever do get bit and my throat starts to close, I can self-inject in my thigh, not a problem. Pow, done way worse. And get myself fixed enough to then treat the actual bite, not the die from the damn, shock, the anaphylactic shock. So we said your old wiener dog survived 5 different copperhead bites, and each time she dealt with it better than the last. Yeah, so there's some science to that too. One, it could just be how the bite was, where the bite was, amount of venom push, et cetera, et cetera. But there is some science behind, building antibodies, building up a tolerance, if you will. If you look at how they make anti-venom, they use snake venom to make it and inject it into horses and rabbits and things and harvest what is produced, so it's what you're getting. Basically a plasma infusion on that. So the dogs get bit on the face, man. They stick their face in there. So that is how it's made. And there's also a guy you can look up from Florida. God damn, I can't think of his name. Lived back in the day. He did a lot of self-injections over time. He wasn't a moron about it. Some people do that who are really kind of stupid about it. He wasn't. And he actually developed a immunity to most things. But you can also develop said allergy and kill yourself. So, you're going to Vegas when you do that, right? Be careful. A certain centipede can be nasty. Yeah, Stephen, you probably can. I would recommend not, personally. And my only thought process on that is, I think it's good to give your males a break. Like a couple months where that male gets to sit and eat and do what he needs to do, and then kind of maybe working back in. So I don't run my males all year long, but In a small collection, I think it's regional. Um, and the reason I think that is so, like, I'll pick on Martok. So Martok's down in Florida area, where it's, the climate ain't as crazy here. My brother says it is. He's in Daytona. It's not. Sorry, sorry, bro. My brother's wrong. No, and Martok's not my brother. My brother actually lives in Daytona. But here in Kansas, climate shit for several months a year, and we have all 4 seasons, and we get hit in the face with all 4 seasons. I can attest in Nebraska, same damn thing. So with that, there I think on a smaller collection there is certainly a season, and it's coming up right about now. Usually about Halloween through November, it's kind of in, and really it takes off like really good. So there is a set breeding season. I feel like here, but the more snakes you have, I think the more pheromones, the more stretched out it is, right? And with that, then you end up with a longer season, right? And so that's kind of how it goes. So we said, how do you clean your tools for venomous? We don't have to do a whole lot of cleaning on them because other than touching a snake, they're really not doing anything. So there's not a lot needed. We do need to clean it. We'll just disinfect it. I mean, if we think there's something gross on there, we can use some soap and water. They're metal. They're not going to get hurt by that at all. So, they're not going to rust or anything. So you just wash them. I mean, hell, my little, I could probably fit in the damn dishwasher if I wanted to, but it's easier just to wash it. You could just take a Clorox wipe even and wipe it down if you really wanted to, and then wipe it off. But there's not a lot of need unless you're working with a snake that you are worried about being sick. Unless you're worried about having venom on them. And I have had venom on my tools before, and I do clean that off. But that's pretty rare. So what's in Lilith's cage right now? Well, what's in Lilith's cage right now is my male carpet python. I just moved him up because it was easier that way, and he kept unplugging his heater in his other cage. I was like, you bastard. I moved him up, and I moved his furniture up. Otherwise, there's nothing in there. Now, it will get back to the Gaboon Viper as she grows, although we're not, or he, no, she, supposed to be a she. As she grows, she'll get to go back into that one eventually. The new one will, Lilith 2.0. But we're not in as big of a hurry to get her there. So right now we are. Oh, Des, not too much, just a bunch of BS. And did your phone die before I gave you your answer? That's what I really want to know because you sent a huge super chat and you certainly deserve an answer for that from me. So, well, good. I'm glad, Steven. Keep those notifications on. Don't miss these. But back to what's going in that cage. It's going to be her whenever she's decides. Right now, we're still feeding the Gaboon pretty decent just to kind of get her going, get her first shed. And we'll probably end up slowing her down feeding wise here. I'd say probably by for the year will be a good time. And we'll go from, small meals every week to a little bigger meal. Good. That's what I want to hear. And probably every other week, and then we'll slow it down again to where it's probably every 3 weeks, and maybe even only once a month, depending on how she does when she gets pretty lethargic. Our breeding plans, Chad, we do have breeding plans. We would like to add a rhino viper, and then look for some gabinos. The reason for that is a couple fold. One, there's some rule requirements on that, so there's that. Oh, what's going on there in Wisconsin? Wisconsin and the cheese curds. You guys have some damn good cheese curds around there, though. I got a lot of family in Minnesota, so yeah. Yeah, and that's probably we'll get to is once a month. It'll be easy first week of the month. Boom, and slow her down. And probably do the same with the blood pythons. We've already slowed our blood pythons down a lot. They don't get fed every week. It's just kind of random when I feel like it. If they haven't pooped, I think they need to poop. They don't get fed. They may not get fed for 4 weeks till they poop, that kind of thing. I didn't measure mine. I should have before I rolled her up and froze her because she's in a circle, not like a cow pie. But she was long and she was thick, man. Really thick. Hard to feed 3 times a week. Oh, man, that's heavy feeding. So she'll move there, and then with the rhino viper, we'd like to go for some gabinos. And to do gabinos, you want to make sure, since it's a crossbreed, and one, they're hard to do, but if we hit it, cool. If we never hit it, I don't really care. It's more for fun. So, but you want to make sure that the bigger of the 2 species when you're crossbreeding is a female, typically, because you want the bigger snake to have the eggs. What that means is the gaboon should be female, and then the male should be the rhino. So, and my timber does that. He didn't feed this last week. He struck out it, dry boat, bit the food, and left it, and I actually freed that one into the woods. Not the timber, the rat. But yeah, he'll do that. Timber's just kind of, they'll go on and off. Man, my hair's like, I got like wild hair today. So not uncommon at all. So Uh, Ember was it an adult female? Because otherwise, I'd say, and I don't work boas a ton, right? Uh, but that seems to me to be a little on the high side for a red-tailed boa. Now, let me ask you this though, because when people say red-tailed boa, we could be talking about a few different things, and depending on which red tail we're talking about. So, uh, oh, sweet, Chad, that's pretty awesome. Uh, Maybe okay. Like, people refer to the red tail boa and it's the common boa. Somebody help me out with the Latin. I always screw those up. You got, boa constrictor, constrictor, and then boa constrictor imperator, and I can't remember which one's which. So then there's the one that's a true red tail. The true red tails are more expensive, though I don't know what they're going for right now. But they're not as big, and but they have a much brighter red tail. It'll hold color. Whereas the babies on the other one stay to more of a dried blood color, or people say it rusters. So then the imperator. So yeah, if you have thank you, boa constrictor, I believe it is, and you've got the more rare one, I guess you'd say. Yeah, and this wheel here is BI or BC. That's where you're getting the imperator or the constrictor. So uh, that's would make a difference on if that price was fair. So Kali is doing good. She's needing to go through a shed cycle. I'll probably do an update on her when she sheds next, hopefully, just to kind of show her off because she is ready to go. We may actually attempt a breeding season next season with them, or maybe this season. What we need to do is we're going to raise up one of these little rattlesnakes I've got. It's going to go to the zoo, right? One of the little bandits. And when they go to the zoo, then we need to bring something home. A little Chad, not much. She's gotten to where with the deeper space, I don't think she feels as threatened, but she's really bad about putting on the show. Then when I turn my head, she tries to bite me in the back of the head like clockwork. So, yeah. And some people do that too, Gaming Chronicles. And the pure black is probably the increasing melanin gene or IMG. Those are pretty badass. But with Kali, we'll probably then bring home one of our reds at that point in time and we'll attempt breeding with them. I am a little concerned how that's going to go because there's a decent chance she's going to get pissed when I put the male in and just kill him. Hopefully not. Hopefully they'll do their thing, but God, it remains to be seen. And I'll probably actually bring the tents down to introduce them for a couple of days because my fear is going to be if she's warm and pissed, it's going to be an issue. And I'm not going to tell you I'm knowledgeable on bearded dragons. I know enough to be dangerous, but if you want good bearded dragon information, there's a ton of better sources than me. Ember, I never would say never. Yum. But I have no interest right now in working with them. They're just not my cup of tea, They're cool, but the Elapins kind of scare the hell out of me. They move different than the Vipers, and my experience isn't really there. So my Viper experience has to teach me how to do it. I spent several times learning from them, for like staying there days at a time and doing nothing but immersing myself in there. So and learned a lot. And so then I got to where I was comfortable keeping them. Started with one and then moved on from there as I gained more experience. But with the Elapids, I just haven't had that. I've worked some monocled cobra stuff, more because I was forced to than anything, but it's not something that my skill set is really comfortable with. So for me to do that, I would need to spend some time with people who do it more and get more comfortable and make sure that I'm not making mistakes I don't realize I'm making that put myself at risk and put others at risk, which I do think is important when you're handling, and when you watch me work with one here on camera, it's not always going to be the sexiest or the smoothest or anything like that, but I'm not going to put myself in harm of a bite. And now sometimes the camera angle will make things look closer than they are. I have to make a comment today. They thought my hand looked really close to my gaboon when it was in the bucket. It wasn't, but I understand how it looks. We'll catch you later, David. So that's kind of what's going on there. What is my favorite ball morph, boa, and hot? Well, I'd say my favorite ball morph is probably still Xanthic because it goes into everything so well for me. For hot, right now, man, I'm really into my hypermelanistic Western. That thing just blows my mind. I really like it. I love the bloods. I hope to prove it genetic and see if it's a low-cal or genetic thing or what the hell's going with that red color. So that would be kind of neat. And Then, as far as boas, I'm not that adept at boas because I just my first snake was the common boa, you know, but I never really got into the boa morphs and I wasn't into it. Then I got into it again after the divorce. I got into the pythons. But if I had to put a finger on it, I'd probably say the IMG. I really like those IMGs. I have heard about the Stranger, and I think Death Stranger is right now. You're seeing a lot of stuff. Look at this new Stranger. Stranger's been around a while, but it hasn't been out there that much. So it's kind of one of those things, where it's getting more common and starting to get out there. And you can even have that second tier, where people are getting it, working with it, and it's going to be pushed out from there. So there's going to be some cool shit coming out with Stranger. The things I've seen just in passing by is making me like Stranger more than I did before. So I'll say that. I would do that, Ember. If somebody had one already, I would certainly hold it. And in all episode, I'd never do that because it's wrong to take them. And I would never take the venom glands out of one because I know what that surgery entails. But I also wouldn't pass up the chance to put my hands on a Gaboon Viper where I could actually just hold it, or on something like that without fear. But yes, it is not usually the best for that animal because the surgery is pretty gnarly. There's a pretty high risk of mutilation or death with the surgeries to remove those glands. And then on top of that, they, it kind of like, that's how they eat. So you're taking that ability away from them, and it can be very difficult on them. So you don't see a lot of venomoids anymore. You used to see more than you do now, which is what the name for that is. When the venom glands have been removed, they call them venomoids. But it's not something that's too common. Now, there are people with big names out there. I'll tell you that I do know that possess venomoids, but a lot of them have had them for 15 or 20 years. And you don't see it done very often, and you don't see it really done by hobbyists anymore. So, but there are some that are out there when it was more common to be done, or in some places where it was required. So what would happen is people would have this stuff and they would be allowed to have it. Then a law would change. They'd come in and say, if you're going to keep it, you have to do X. You have to have this surgery, and they'd force it upon them. Or the choice was either get it surgically altered or have it euthanized. What are you going to do in that situation? Some of those out there because of that, and I would certainly take the opportunity to hold one if I had the chance, but I would not ever want to create more if I could prevent it. So, yeah, I agree. I agree, Ember. I mean, if it's there, I'm going to get close to it too. But yes, I wouldn't do it either. So I wouldn't make it. So I'm saying I would do what you did, but I wouldn't make more. Oh man, see, yeah, uh, I don't know what the point is in that, other than just doing it for show. We've taken Venomous to a show before to show native venomous species, and everything that we took uh, was fully ready to rock. It did pretty decent. A 13-foot one. Caleb? So what are you talking about on a 13-foot? A 13-foot king? Were you saying a 13-foot king that was venomoid, or just a 13-foot king that was a halfway decent? Because kings are pretty intelligent, and that's why you see a lot of people free handle kings. I mean, you can do it pretty safe if you know what you're doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm not going to do that. And I also know that it's still not. I prefer a hook on them personally. But with a snake as big as a king, you're not going to be able to just hook it. You're going to have a hand on that animal when you have a full-grown king. There's no way around it. It's just the only way it's going to get done that I know of. Or if you have it by just the tail of the hook out to kind of keep it out, it's just, yeah. And you're going to have people out there like that, unfortunately. I mean, I can't, do that. How long are they usually? So, Stephen, I usually try to do 20 minutes to 30 minutes. We usually top it off at an hour, so we're about going to get out of here because I do have to go to Patreon and hang out with those folks too and give them some special attention like I always do. We're going to watch Gaboon Viper because he's due for a soak, or she is. But typically if we get some super chats then we do stay longer, up to an hour, and we got some in, so I wanted to spend that time with you guys. Not to mention I'm owing you all here thank you, because like I say, there's several of you, some YouTube people and some Patreon/YouTube people hit it on the head right away and said, hey, I think you're dealing with Cryptic. I think you're dealing with Cryptic. And, man, they were right. Whoop. They were right. Yeah, and there is some of that too, Caleb. And see, Caleb's a guy that, for those of you that don't know, who don't catch us all the time or haven't caught Caleb here. So Caleb is a guy that I don't want to say we hired him away from. He moved, but he'd worked at a different zoo and has a lot of experience in the Lapids. So honest to God, if I was going to get any Lapid, what I would want to do is get one, and he would be the guy that I would make come up, a couple times a week and work with me on it till my level was at the point that I was good. And he knows that. And but he hadn't worked the Vipers so much, so we did a lot of Viper work, and now he works with Vipers all the time just fine. Caleb is also our daily manager at Manhattan Reptile World. So if you go into the shop that we're a part owner of, there's an ownership group of 4 of us. But Caleb is the guy that runs the day-to-day operation in there on every day but Sunday, and you'll find him in there working. He'd love to tell you about the zoo we have, and love to hook you up with anything you need. And we actually just had Asian vine snakes in there. Pretty cool. Yeah, whatever Anna said, come join. Listen to her, Steve. Listen to her. And they vipers are cool, man. They are. The Lapids are just, I don't know. They're just all the time. They're like my damn dog bouncing off the walls. All right, guys, we got this for just an hour and a minute, so I'm going to hop off here first. Let me tell you guys thank you again for helping identify, and also thank you for everybody's super chats. Balls of Paradise, man, you're a rock star today. I want to tell you that too, because I know you really rang that up. Des Farms, you rang it up pretty good as well. So thank both of you especially. And we're going to hop up off of here now and slide over to Patreon after I prep a bucket to wash a capoon.